Welcome to T-Smack, home of the T-Smack. May I take your order?
Hello there, and welcome to an all-new episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I'm your host, Josh Scar, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
Doing just fine and dandy. Nervous that in 4 days, the world's going to be at peace as we all share in the mutual mourning of a day without Christmas, because he took the cans, he took the mice from the cheese, he took the strings, he took the last little bulbs, he even took little Cindy Lou Who's candy cane.
Yeah, that Cheeto Man don't fuck around. He redacts everything.
Nice. How are you, sir?
Oh man, I'm doing better. It was not a great weekend for me, but I'm doing better. We made some krumkake, which is a delightful little Norwegian sugar cookie that you roll into a cone and you fill it with like whipped cream and fruit, more usually like raspberries. I made my gingerbread cookies. I am full of sweets and ready for my sugar coma when I'm done recording here.
That sounds delicious. I gotta try that sometime.
Yeah, we should be in the same room at some time, and we'll get you some krumkake or something.
You know what? Us being in the same room is powerhouse, just like our 200th episode, which you can listen to, which we recorded live.
That's true. I mean, it is amplified heavily because we have He-Man Star Fox there as well.
So much heavy lifting.
It's true. All right, well, we're going to talk Avatar 3, Avatar Fire and Ash, but first we're going to hear from our friend Caesar over at the No on 15 Allcast, and we'll be right back.
No, I'm 15. No, I'm 15. No, I'm 15. No, I'm 15.
So, what's our show about? It's about some dudes talking about movies, just like this.
With Goofy screaming with them.
So you're talking that they should have replaced it like with a Tom and Jerry scream or something like that?
Or you might hear something like this.
Oh my gosh.
That whole movie, waiting to see what happens with Blanca, is like the most aggravating thing in that film. But for the most part, we talk movies from the 80s, 90s, and today. And if you grace us with your ear time, you might hear one of these 30-second gems like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did not get a chance to watch this one this week.
Give it to him anyways. We're gonna give it to you anyway. You ready?
I'm gonna give you the 30-second review of Tron Uprising.
All right. Start the clock and then. So give us a shot and listen to the No on 15 Allcast wherever you listen to your podcasts.
No, I'm 15.
And we're back. Don't forget to listen to Caesar at the No on 15 Allcast. Just a fun variety show, podcast, people talking nostalgia. But let's talk Avatar Fire and Ash, something that I was very pleasantly surprised by, to kind of spoil my feelings on the movie. But Alex, this Avatar is your franchise, so I'm going to let you take the reins on this.
So I'm going to admit that my viewing of this is colored a little bit differently, because I made the decision to hike up to Beloit to see it in Beloit Classic Cinemas. I'm not going to deal with it. This is a 3-hour, 15-minute movie. When you add in the uncomfortable seats, the overcharge for our FOMAX, plus the 3D, plus the 25 minutes of trailers, I'm just not going to deal with it. I wanted to make sure that I saw this movie in an experience which I could enjoy, so that meant hiking up to Beloit. And I had two options for the time frame I had available to commit to this movie. One of them was a standard viewing, non-3D, which I thought was a little odd because it was the big theater. I think they're cycling like one non-3D, one 3D for the big theater based off of the timing.
Makes sense.
I could see it in one of the smaller theaters because the Beloit Classic, I think, is only 8 or 10 theaters. But the smaller theater, it was in 3D and high frame rate. I typically am against the idea of high frame rate because The Hobbit looked terrible in high frame rate. So for those who don't know, movies typically for the last 100 years have been filmed at 24 frames per second. That's what gives the movie its glossy texture. There's a little bit of blurriness. There's a little bit of fuzziness to it. It just gives it that look. Even when you have something in 4K, as characters move, there's just something about it. Now, when you have something like a soap opera or You have something like Jeopardy or our live sports. Those are all filmed in, I believe, 48 frames per second, basically real life, what our viewing eyes can see. Yes, I know gamers out there, you guys say 60 FPS or nothing. I get it. But typically the human eye is around 48 to 50. They began experimenting with the high frame rate for the last 20 years. And the biggest movie to do it was the first Hobbit movie. But people overwhelmingly didn't like it because it's so clear and everything moves so well that it hurt the prosthetics that they're wearing, because you could kind of see folds happening that would normally just be blurred out and stuff like that. And so even when they released it on Blu-ray streaming, they released it as 24 frames a second. So this is going to be my first experience with it. And the damn thing is gorgeous. I was worried about it because I have really good eyesight. And
yeah, rub it in.
Yes. Unlike 90% of our guests, I don't need glasses or contacts. And I was worried that the 3D combined with the high frame rate would either give me a headache because it just looks so clear, or would sour me because I would start seeing between the pixels or something. But it worked for me. I think it's because so much of the movie, well, one, James Cameron, he sent this letter to all the theaters saying, hey, this is how you calibrate your machines for 3D. And if you're doing the high frame rate version, this is what you need to do. Make sure it looks good. This is how I filmed the movie, intending it to look, which I thought was cool. Every once in a while you hear about directors sending notes like that. Like I know Nolan sent notes before about like Oppenheimer, like if you're seeing it in IMAX 35 millimeter or 70 millimeter, this is what you need to calibrate your cameras to. It worked for me because I felt so living in the world, because it was just so crystal clear, and the way everything moved and the 3D, I was immersed in that world for 3 hours and 15 minutes. And I saw some stuff that Justin, our friend from the Movie Wire, said, and I'm going to have to politely disagree with him.
Not to spoil his upcoming review that'll be out maybe today, no. Or maybe he's dropping it as a Christmas episode. I don't know. But happy Christmas Eve as well, by the way, everyone.
Oh, yes. Happy Christmas Eve. But he and I had a little back and forth. We didn't say what our feelings were of the movie. He mentioned about how I was seeing it as like the normal movie going audience won't see it, won't ingest it, and they're going to lose something. I think that seeing it like this actually, to me, more makes the movie, because for the last 100 years, cinema has been about bringing spectacle, getting you to leave your house, getting you to look at something. Like in the 50s, they were playing around with 3D, and they had like, I forget what it's called. They invented some version that only was like 10 theaters in the country had, where it was like surroundoscope, where it was like you could watch the entire movie in your peripheral vision. They were filming it for that. They had people doing the gimmicks of smell-o-vision with things dropping from the ceilings, because they were like, well, TV is taking over. We need to make sure people come back to the movies. And then 3D has been coming and going for 20-something years. The first Avatar was built for 3D, ushered in the 3D phase, better for worse, especially when they tried doing that at home 3D. There's a bunch of movies out there that are not used that have glasses floating around that don't work anymore. But I think I saw it as it was intended to be viewed, where I was a captured audience lost in this movie. I don't know if that's going to work for people seeing it on Disney Plus in 90 to 120 days. And certainly not for people who are trying to passively watch it on their phone while they're at work.
No, definitely not. And I think this might be the least accessible Avatar movie. Like, minor spoilers for this one, which I like, not a huge spoiler, but this is kind of like the Avengers Endgame of the Avatar franchise, because this one picks up immediately after the events of The Way of Water. And so anyone who did not watch that movie, for the first 45 minutes, you're going to be completely lost, because a lot of the first hour of this movie is picking up the crumbs from that one and bringing them into the plot of this new movie. And like, I think it works really well. I was pleasantly surprised that this movie picked up immediately after. I expected there to be a 2-3 year time jump, and no, it's just continuing directly from it. And I think surprisingly, it's one of those few movies where, even though it took us 3 years to get here, because I believe Way of Water came out in 2022.
Yep.
Even though it took us 3 years to get to this point, because they filmed it back to back and the post-production just takes so long, it still works. So as long as you have any kind of recollection towards the end of the last movie, you can hop into this one. But if you've never seen an Avatar movie and you're like, all right, let's go see what these Avatar movies are all about, you're going to be a little lost in the first hour of this. But they do a pretty good job of kind of bringing you up to speed in their own way, especially since it's a 3-hour movie plus 15 minutes of credits. But overall, like, I really enjoyed this one. Like, I don't think I've walked out of an Avatar movie and been like, yeah, that was fun. I liked it. I enjoyed myself. I've always been like, pretty colors, interesting world building, not really innovative in the storytelling department. But in this one, like, I don't know if I was just in the mood to be wowed or just because I had spent so much time kind of talking about it with people. I really walked out of this one being like, holy crap, like legitimately a movie theater employee stopped me on my way out since I was the last person out because I was the only one that stuck around for the credits. You're welcome, Justin. He's like, so what did you think? It's like, I legitimately think this might be the best Avatar. I don't know why, but I'm walking out of this one being like, yeah, that was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Like, the spectacle was there. The plot flowed. But overall, it was just a good time at the movies. And I just really had a good time with myself. No, don't take that out of context, please.
So the first one came out 16 years ago now, and there was a lot of anticipation for it because James Cameron had done...
It's his first movie since Titanic.
Yeah, his first movie since Titanic. And he mostly did, was it Terminator to Titanic, and like in 12 years, he had done all of his movies that we know about. And we knew he was working on something because he'd occasionally pop up like, oh, do I want to do Alita next? Or do I want to do this next? And then we've heard like roughly 8 years later that, I'm going to work on this thing called Avatar. The technology's finally here. And he gave us Avatar, which, yes, people are right. It is the Dances with Wolves, Pocahontas, whatever you want to call it. We've heard it. The hero's journey. It's the thing. He is there as a soldier, falls in love with the native culture, and rises against his own people. Then there was 13 years. I'm still not sure what the heck he was doing other than diving to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, filming some documentaries. But he said he was working on it because he had this vision for 4 more movies. And he spent a hell of a long time cracking the tech.
He needed to get the negotiation process right to get Kate Winslet back so he can try and drown her again.
And God bless him, he did.
Twice for 2 movies.
And he was working with the writers, got them settled in, and they wrote the movies, and then he filmed 2, 3, and half of 4 at the same time. He stopped filming because he wants the kids to grow up, because then he'll film the next ones, because he says the 4th ones, there's going to be a large time jump that happens. So Avatar The Way of the Water was 13 years later and was very much a reintroduction. Jake's the narrator. It's the same bad villain returning, but this went in new form. I liked it. And the ending more works for me. The emotion, the depth of the world really works for me. So I was waiting 3 years, and I was a little nervous about this one because I was worried that since the first and second movie are basically the same movie, that we're going to have the same movie for the third one. And there are moments in this where objectively I was mentally a little bored because I was starting to see the plot points ticking along of, we have another water battle with a big ship that's flooding. We have, another one of this where someone is kind of captured and the children are trying to help. Okay, this is a little odd, but he knows we're revisiting those points very quickly, and he barrels through them to get to something new. And that made me really happy. He's aware of that, like, hey, yes, I know I'm touching the same touchstones, but this is why, and this is where I'm going. But the thing I would like most about this is it really called me back, because I watch a lot of older movies, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. There's just something about them that just works for me. Maybe it's because we grew up with only like the main 4 until I was like a teenager, the main 4 broadcasting stations till I was a teenager. So they used to air in the early mornings, old movies, old shows. And then when we got basic cable, it was the same thing, But what I appreciate about this movie is that it allows scenes to breathe. Like there's a scene where Jake, Neytiri, and Spider are making their way away from something, and it cuts to cuts from them flying away at night to a daytime shot where there's a river and it's just water flowing over the rocks, and the shot lingers for like maybe 5-6 seconds. And I was wondering, are we cutting to somebody else? What's happening? And then you see their creature in the air, and they swoop down and land, and all exit, all get off of it. And
Come on, Alex. Even I know it's an Ikron or a Banshee.
And I realized, oh, this is a director who is willing to let the audience breathe, who's willing to let a moment of peace happen. And I was like, this is what movies used to do. I mean, when you have the Avengers and stuff like that, nothing against them, but damn, those movies move quick. There is no settle in. If they cut from like they're boarding the ship after the Civil War fight to get away, bucking them and get on the plane and take off, and then it shows like Siberia, you get one shot of Siberia, which is going to be gray and snowing, and boom, the plane lands. And they're exiting as the plane's landing, basically. You never really luxuriate. You never really just wash yourself in those moments. And I loved that.
I think that's a really good call out because, yeah, that moment, that shot of the river is really just a nice moment to have the audience take a breath and be like, okay, this is a new tone for this scene. Like, we've had the action beat. We're going to reset. Something new is happening. Let's take a breath and go. I think that's a really great call out. And I think that's another reason why I really enjoyed this movie is that it doesn't feel as self-indulgent in the world building. It's like we've been to Pandora several times now. Some of you have been to the theme parks where there is Pandora stuff. We're here. We're going to just do our thing. And I think that was the right choice in a lot of this. There's so much in this movie. It's 3 hours long. Like, you really have to just pick apart your moments and be like, this is what I like. This is what I liked. And legitimately, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that I just really enjoyed because I chose not to watch it in 3D. I was talking with someone at work the other day, and I remember talking through my process with them about the first Avatar movie because last time we had an Avatar movie, I was supposed to go see it and I got sick. I got COVID. And so I stayed home and I watched the first movie again. And that's kind of when the movie clicked for me, is because I was able to view it. The first time I ever saw it in theaters, I went and saw it in 3D, and I was just sitting there waiting for the 3D to immerse me. And I'm just like watching for all the gimmicks and like, why is this movie in 3D? What's going on here? And because I didn't have that element of 3D between me and the viewing experience, I was able to see the little details of like Grace's avatar looking more like Sigourney Weaver than a Na'vi, and Jake's avatar having 5 fingers, and all these little like nuances in the avatars and how the like human quote unquote defectiveness of the avatars transitioned into other things. So like not viewing it in 3D and not trying to watch for the gimmick and the idea of even the high frame rate, I think that was a benefit to someone like me where I'm removing the barrier between me and the story with the 3D. And so that way I was able to just kind of be more immersed in the story. And there's a lot to really enjoy. Like, there are moments with, I think it starts off a little hinky in terms of the CGI, like the refinement. Like, there's a lot of shots in the second one, especially, where people are like, is that photorealism? Like, did they just paint someone? Like, what's going on here? The opening sequence, I think, is it's probably the cheapest sequence of the entire movie, which it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not terrible, but I was like, oh, this doesn't quite look right. This isn't exactly what I remember the last one looking like. Like, the lip sync isn't quite right. The lip movements aren't quite right. They're just a little off. But we get out of that opening sequence, and all of a sudden I'm just immersed. Like, I'm not looking for those deficiencies. I'm not seeing them. And it really just picked up from there for me. I do have some nitpicks that I'll get into, but they're all like spoilery, so I'm going to just leave it at that. But overall, I think this is very much the best Avatar movie. And I think it's because it builds upon its predecessor. These were, again, filmed back to back, so like that makes sense. But it just feels more natural, and it feels more I really don't know how to explain it other than like it lends itself more to the viewing experience because I think the narrative picks up really well from its predecessor and then it just builds naturally upon itself. It's not like trying to reestablish Pandora for us. I think the biggest flaw is more or less repeating the ending of the last movie. I don't think it's a huge spoiler to say that for the last action piece. Like there are spoilers to be had in there, but it's more or less the same final action sequence with just different beats. But overall, I really love this movie, like more than I like the other ones.
Yeah, I would agree with you. In terms of a smack rating, it's a must see. I think it tells the most original story of them. I think now that you've had a movie to set up the world and then a movie to reintroduce the world, you're finally getting character interaction. I think it helps that the focal point isn't Jake. It is his son Tuok. Loak, thank you. That he is the narrator of telling the story of this one. I think that also sheds a light a little bit more on how Jake and Neytiri interact with each other, because the last movie I really felt Neytiri was sidelined, and other than she's action girl, this one you actually see how she struggles being with Jake when he is part, still human souled, but also he is this reluctant warrior who still in many ways doesn't want to accept Na'vi culture because she still wants to use her bow, and the other Na'vi are still like, these are the tools we have. We will not use your machine guns. And Jake is like, I'm still a Marine. I'm going to shoot everything. And you see how that interacts with his sons and the children. And I think you get more time to envelop in the culture. I in some ways, I wish this was the second movie, but I know that because of the limitations that James Cameron's working with, the second movie had to be a reintroduction because it had been over a decade. But I really feel this one is the strongest of the three because we are now in this world. We can have stories and we can see how the different cultures are interacting and reacting to each other, each culture changing, and then the existential threat of the humans that are still trying to pillage that planet.
And Giovanni Ribisi coming back was a nice touch too. Like if I remember, he wasn't in the second one.
No, I don't remember him being in the second one at all. And when he walked back on screen, I was like, "Hey, welcome back! You did film scenes."
Plays who's that guy from Aliens? He plays that kind of role really well, where he has those comedic chops, but he just has that face and that like under layer of him where you're like, yeah, I can see him being a sleazy corporate guy too.
Paul Reiser,
yes. Let's move into spoilers for Fire and Ash, because there are a lot of things or at least a few things I would like to discuss.
Since you have a few, can I just bring up my one?
Yeah, go for it.
So Carrie is like a teenager. That's the Sigourney Weaver
character, yes? Okay.
Played by Sigourney Weaver, who at the time of filming was like 71. Has a romantic interlude with Spider, who's
a 30-year-old man playing a 16-year-old, 13-year-old?
He's a 21-year-old man playing a 15-year-old.
He's 30-ish.
No, he is not. Look up his character, his actor. He was born in 2004.
Misinformation.
I was looking at that going like, how old is this guy? Because that's what I think. I thought from the original movie, because the guy's running around with a six-pack and everything. And I'm like, what's he, like Leo, like 20s or 20s, mid-20s? No, he was 15 filming this.
I think it's the wig. The wig makes him look so much older.
The wig is so bad. Or is it? I don't know what his actual hair like. But when I got home, I looked it up and I'm like, okay, so filmed in 2019 to 2020. Oh my God. Was his first kiss with Sigourney Weaver? I wouldn't complain.
No.
But the 50-year age gap, I was like, hello.
I mean, with his acting skills, he's had an on-stage kiss at the very least. So you would assume probably it's not his first kiss. And I'm like, he's pretty buff. So he's had experiences.
Yeah.
I don't think he's bedded someone and not smooched them. That's just a dick move. No pun intended.
Yeah, that's my really only thing. Is I did not like Spider in the second movie, but because one, we're introduced to him, and it turns out he's the kid of jackass guy, Stephen Lang.
Quaritch.
Yeah, Quaritch.
Come on, Alex. I'm not the one that's obsessed with this franchise.
I'm shitty with names, and you know that. And then, of course, he being manipulated and led over there, and he's a traitor, and then Neytiri is mad at him. Yeah, I mean, but I really liked his story in this one. And sorry, my secondary point, and then I'll let you. But the scene where he gives up to Jake, while it's also cutting back to Neytiri washing the makeup off of her face, and then you see the ink running in the water as she realizes what she's done, which is the whole Lady Macbeth thing, spot, get out. She's literally seen blood on her hands. Dude,
I love that scene. I love that scene. That scene almost got me. Like I got me. When she says "I see you" to Spider, I almost got there. But that actually leads into one of my biggest gripes of the entire franchise, at least of this two-parter between The Way of Water and Fire and Ash, is that the emotional payoff for that, the only reason it did not get me is because there is no interaction between Spider and Neytiri. There is no effort on Spider's behalf to be like, hey, Auntie Neytiri, like, don't you want to like be around me? Like, can I make an effort to be liked, to at least show that I'm making an effort too? And Neytiri obviously has the thing of like, you're Quaritch's son, you're human, I want nothing to do with you. Like her distance makes sense. Spider never makes an effort to do anything with her. Like the first time we ever see them do any kind of interaction is when they are fleeing that scene from the city, going to that transition scene in the river.
I can agree with that. The reason it worked for me is because of the beauty of the moment. Is Neytiri, I get why Neytiri doesn't like Spider. He is a pet of her kids, basically, is how she sees him. And that pet caused her son to die.
Well, I mean, she hates him even before that.
Oh yeah, I know. She hates him even more.
Yeah.
And she straight up tells Jake, because of what Awad did and Kiri's bond with him, you have to get rid of him. And then all that crap stuff happens. And now Jake's like, you are right. This is never going to end unless we get rid of this. And I loved him taking him out there. I think Sam Worthington finally impressed me a bit, because he's always been a kind of there actor for me, but he actually impressed me a bit, which is cool because he's emoting through CGI, and his body posture and tone and everything and facial expressions impressed me that he was going to go through with it. And then Neytiri, with just like I said, it's just Zoe Saldana knows her role so well here, and she does everything to give the animators something to work with. And then she sells it with body language and voice and stuff. And I loved it. And so it did work for me. There's, I think 3 times this movie, I just straight up just teary-eyed, not like sobbing, but I was just like, this got me. It actually worked for me.
I just wish the Spider thing was a little more personal, where like Spider had made an effort, at least on screen, to be seen, and Neytiri just would continually brush him off. Like, that's more impactful, where she comes up, grabs his face and says, I see you. It's a beautiful moment, because as people who have been watching these movies, we understand what that means. And we have a juxtaposition of that too with Varang, is it Sadiq or something like that? The chief of the Fire and Ash people. We never really actually hear her name. I think Quaritch calls her Varang like once. I literally had to IMDb it so I could get her name. But like we have a moment with them where she puts him through like a drug test, literally, where she like gets him high, and she asks him a bunch of questions, and like, if you lie to me, I'll kill you. And he's like, I never lie, or at least I'm not going to lie to you. And he just is as honest as we've ever seen him in any of these movies. And she goes, I see you, in like the most maniacal way. But like, we remember that from Neytiri and the previous movies. And so we know that means something intimate to these people. And so like, that's a big deal. And then we have the other side of the coin when Neytiri says it to Spider, and it's a beautiful scene. Like I said, it almost got me, but I wasn't quite there because I needed a little bit more emotional build up to that point.
I laughed so goddamn hard. And so my viewing experience was I found to be actually adorable because a seat down from me, it was a guy probably around our age and his like 8 to 10-year-old son. And as I sit down, the dad says, "Hey, buddy, thanks for coming with me." And he's like, "I know how much you love these movies, Dad." And I was like, "Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart's hurting right now."
That's the dream.
And then to the left of me, right as the movie was about to start, a woman walked in with her 3 kids, and she kind of situated them with like 2 of the older ones behind her, which I think were teenagers, and then the younger one who was maybe like 5 or 6, like next to her. And anytime the Navi did the, the whole angry kind of like hissing, she would do it too and clap to herself. But we all laughed at the same time when, bless you, James Cameron, when they decide to kill off the longest lasting pregnancy of all time by having Ronal, Kate Winslet's character, get injured, give birth on the battlefield. But before she gave birth, she looks at Neytiri and goes, "I'm going to give birth to this child and then die tonight." And then Neytiri went, "Fine." And then she gives birth and dies immediately.
See, I really like that moment too. Like there's a lot of beautiful moments because Neytiri has been combative with Kate Winslet's character for 2 movies where she's just like, she is not from my culture. Like we are both Na'vi, but we have different cultures. It's like going from Catholic to Baptist. And when they're in that moment, Neytiri says like, "You're not dying." And Kate Winslet's like, "Stop fucking arguing with me. Let me die after I give birth to this child." And then she like goes through the thing of like, she's a beautiful, strong baby. What is her name? And like, yeah, it's beautiful. So like so much good stuff.
Oh, it is so good because they set it up, because a few moments before then, she had run out of arrows, Neytiri did. And so she was pillaging arrows from bodies. And so what does she put the baby in? The empty quiver. Mm-hmm. And I love that because that to me is like,
it's a great touch.
That is a warrior mother. This is weapon of war is going to protect this child. And I was like, oh, I love it. Just those little beats, those little setups. Quiver's empty. There's a space for something. And yeah. So what other gripes do you have? Because my main one was the last 20 minutes, and I already said it. You're revisiting the same ending.
Except you have like the Gandalf coming at the light of the third day moment with the big whales. I forget what they're called. I know Payakan is the name of the rogue one. I do want to compliment really quickly Varang, the leader of the Ash people.
So hot.
So in the finale, when we're on the boat, when the whales are attacking again, the ship is going down, heading towards this vortex that reacts weirdly to metal. It like lifts it up and disintegrates it. That's the ticking clock. The bad guys need to get off the ship. The good guys need to get their people that are being held hostage. And Varang is just hamming it up, pacing back and forth, having the time of her life, waiting to be as evil as she needs to be. And it's really funny because it felt like, okay, we kind of don't have anything else for her to do. Let's just continue to hammer home how crazy and insane she is. Mm-hmm. And they just went like full 90s villainous woman with her at the end of the movie. And I found it really funny, but charming in a way. And a really fun performance and just a character that really came through a very crowded movie to really stand out. But I will say that we talked about this in our Die Hard, what's Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance episode.
Yeah.
Where in the 90s, women couldn't be caught dead fighting a man. And so it really felt like Varang was introduced because Neytiri needed a foil. She couldn't just keep fighting faceless Marines and military people. So they brought in Varang, and Varang just kind of became the foil for Neytiri for a while. Even though the resolution to that entire conflict is Kiri showing up and dropping an Aliens reference at the end of it, which I appreciated. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I appreciated them doing something a little different with just Neytiri being able to best her finally with whatever resolution they could have concocted. But and it proves like the power of family over the individual sort of thing.
Yeah. I do like that the way they introduce Barang. Maybe Korang is actually their couple name.
Turtles.
She's such a twisted version of the people that she uses her, I forget what they call it, her hair tentacle to subdue and torture people with, which, as we found out from the first one, if you entwine them, it means they're alive, which is weird that they do that with their beast. But,
well,
it's
I feel like there's like a sentience allowance in that. Like it's more like they gain mind control over the thing. Whereas if they do it with a truly sentient being, it becomes more intimate.
Yeah, but she uses it to like torture and like break people and stuff. And I was like, that's cool. That's how twisted she is that she's going to use this power to subdue and break people. I like that. Which was then, of course, when Kiri comes back up and she's just like, and she does it to her. It's like, okay.
And we need to come back to Kiri's resolution as well, because there's a mystery box that's given to Kiri in Avatar: The Way of Water that is resolved here, which I'm curious to know your opinion on that. But I have two more gripes. I'm going to start with the one that I think upset me the most. And that is that there's a moment when they return to the water village where Jake is really pissed off at Loak. And Neytiri is like, you need to talk to him. Go talk to your son. Explain to him how you feel. Be a man and just stop being passive aggressive towards him. He needs to know that you care. And Jake immediately goes, what about you and Spider? You hate Spider. Why are we not killing him? Why are you not killing him because of how much you hate him? And it's like, why are you gaslighting her for being right?
That scene was so, I understood it.
It's two arguments that have validity, but Jake refusing to acknowledge what he's doing with Loak. And again, the resolution to his conflict with Loak, I felt is a little cheap, because when Jake finally is apologetic to Loak, he's not even apologetic. He's like, you've proven yourself to me. You're my wingman now. Let's go. He didn't say, I am sorry for blaming you for your brother's death. I know it wasn't your fault. It's just what happened. He went in and did his thing, and he died because he was doing what he felt was right. None of that is said. None of that is implied. It is literally just, you were a man and you stood for what you believed in, and it's the right thing to do, and you ended up getting what you wanted. I see you. Let's go do this thing, wingman.
No, you're right. The resolution was basically like, I trust you again, which is kind of bullshit, because he never really didn't. Kids are going to be kids. There's going to be a constant flux of what they think is right versus what you think is right. And yes, it does get people in trouble and shit, but you're right. Jake is totally just turning shit back on Neytiri in that scene, which I do like that Neytiri, unlike him, can be honest. There is something, I mean, she loves Jake. She will listen to him, because he is the person that has that the title in the village, but she will be willing to actually give her emotional moment and say, like, yes, there is still something about you, and there's something about our children that occasionally I wonder, how human are they? And I like that.
Yeah, that conversation is great.
Yeah, but Jake is incredibly in the wrong, and he does not give Loak the right response to how he trusts him. And also, I still think that he is still wrong with Neytiri, that he doesn't need to be as bullheaded as he is. And he needs to accept that he has given up his past to be with her. And that is something that I still think is a fault of Jake, which good, our heroes should have faults. But the movie didn't quite properly address it, because they still make it seem like Jake is doing the right thing by allowing himself to be captured. And then by Neytiri using the weapons he made for her to rescue him. That's just so she's willing to be more compromised than he is. Because she says, I'm not giving up my bow. And he's like, well, then I made you, RPG arrows. And she's like, I don't want those. And then what does she do? She takes him to go free him. So I think I agree with you. I think that Jake needs to show more, ironically, humanity and release some of his stubbornness. And I don't feel it was properly resolved. Yeah.
That's his biggest character growth that he could have is letting go of that stubbornness. And I think they missed the ball with that one, or dropped the ball with that one. But speaking of his escape from the city, were you as surprised as I was that the guy who helped him escape didn't die? Because that's the guy that struck me as he's doing the wrong thing for the right he's not even doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. He is there taking a paycheck and he like doesn't like what's happening, but he's still there, and he ends up doing the right thing by letting Jake go. He's a marine biologist who's on board the ships that are hunting the whales and collecting their blubber or whatever it is they're harvesting. And he like raises an objection during the hunt, and he raises an objection when they're discussing doing this mass slaughter where they're like, we'll get a year's quota in 3 hours. What could go wrong? What if there's no environmental impact? And he's like, but you're disrupting entire like sentient civilization. Like, who fucking cares? We're going to be rich. And like the amount of money they're talking about isn't even that much in like $3,025, whatever year they're in. Like, I'm the money they're talking about, unless inflation just stops, it doesn't make sense, because like the Avatar army that they built is like the same cost as what they're like, the money we're going to make from this is this much.
So that is Jermaine Clement, one half of Flight of the Conchords.
Is that Jermaine Clement?
Yes, it is. Isn't it so weird hearing him have an American accent?
Well, not only that, but they put him in like a fat suit, didn't they? Or has he just gotten that plump?
Maybe both, but he has a heavy beard in that. And I'm looking at it going like, I know who this is. I know that face. And I'm like, that's Jermaine Clement. When did he start doing an American accent? I want him to start singing Shiny. I was actually surprised he didn't. I thought that the resolution of him basically going, listen, I need to free Jake. Yeah, Jake gets captured so that they can put him on, basically take him to a firing squad because he's a traitor.
He can do a
to the human
public
race.
execution for betraying the company.
Which, by the way, is so weird. Like, I get it, but it is so odd to see, like, they capture Jake, take him back. Quaritch, gets his bounty, gets him back, and they put him in, like, a raptor box, glass raptor box, and everyone's out there with their high-tech smartphones because they're broadcasting this back to Earth. And I'm like, yeah, that would actually happen. This is totally something I would see. But in the Avatar world, I was like, where all these humans come from? I only ever see them come to the military folk, and then like some of the asshole whale hunters. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess there's refineries that have to have people working there. But still, the idea of like a population of people living on the planet that aren't like Marines really it removed my reality a little bit and brought me back into like the
and the
real
fact
world.
that they're all using like their own smart devices too. Like they're all recording on their whatever smartphones that they have, hollow phones, whatever you want to call them. Like, that took me out of it a little bit too. I'm like, yeah, I understand like that culture would probably still carry over into the future where like, oh, I need to get my selfie with Jake Sully as he walks by.
Throughout all of human history, whenever you have like something public like that, people are going to try to remember it. Like, it was not uncommon when you were taking somebody to be executed that their clothes and hair and stuff were ripped because people wanted souvenirs and stuff like that, So I'm not surprised by it, but still, it reminded me that this is actually like a post-extreme capitalist dystopia that they're trying to bring to this planet. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's going to be people with the version of smartphones like, hey mom, look, we caught Jake, turn on the news, so that threw me off. But yeah, the fact that Jermaine Clement survived, I just assumed he was going to get killed in the big bulldozer he used to free Jake.
Yeah, I assumed he was either going to die or he would join the party at the end, but like neither of them really happened. Like there's no resolution to that character. He just runs off after Jake and Spider reunite.
Yeah, he just runs away.
My last gripe that I have is related to Spider. The moment he transitions into being able to have the ability to breathe on Pandora without a mask, that's another moment where I feel like the emotional beat of it is underscored by just the convenience of getting rid of the mask for him. And it didn't play the way I think it needed to. I think if they had put that moment after the raid, like maybe they reunited, they get him like one more filter refresh and they're just like, he's not going to make it. Like there's something happening. And he like Spider just needs a little bit more screen time maybe. And like wishing to be more Na'vi on screen in a way that's not pandering or like extraordinarily foreshadowing. Because when they give him the ability to breathe, he's just like, I'm breathing, I don't need a mask. It doesn't feel joyous. It feels more like, okay, cool. The inconvenience of the mask is gone. Let's go.
I agree with that. It is definitely should have been like an end of Act 2, maybe even Act 3 resolution. Instead, it was just, it's our Act 1 problem that was resolved right at the beginning of Act 2. And,
which like it makes
becomes,
sense with what they do. It makes sense with what they do because they need him to be able to connect with Awa in the water village.
Yeah.
And so like that part makes sense, but it just, with where it picks up, because it happens like halfway through Act 1, then he's like, they just treat it like it's always been that way. And he's just now doing some learning, which like, I appreciate them not going through and redoing all of the like, hey, you need to connect with it, feel it, breathe, do all these things. I appreciate them not doing that, especially since he's been like watching for his entire life. And so like he can have a pretty good base level understanding of how to do the thing. But just the emotional beat of him being like, oh my God, like I can actually be a people. I'm not just a guy in a mask that can't participate. I can participate in things now. I think there's a big emotional beat that could have been there. And they just played it off more for the plot convenience.
I can agree with that, because what it does and ultimately ends up doing is, since he can breathe oxygen and the Na'vi, the Pandora's atmosphere, is that he immediately goes from like, they resolved, oh, he can breathe, to, oh, he can breathe. And then it starts becoming an Act 2 and 3 motivation issue that, assuming they finish the 4th and 5th ones, will continue to be an issue in the 4th and 5th ones, because of Jake and Natiri's worry that if humans can breathe air on Pandora, there's nothing to stop them from staying.
Yeah, he's becoming a commodity. Like he's the new unobtainium. The whale plot, I'm hoping it has been resolved with this. I applaud James Cameron for not just dropping it, because it is a very easy emotional beat to keep. Like when they shot that one straight through the heart, holy crap. I was like, no, that's too real. Like, I appreciate him keeping that level in for like, humans aren't going to just stop. Like there's too much money in this. They have the ability to do it. They're going to keep doing it. And so I appreciate that, but I really hope the whale hunting is done if and when there are sequels.
I can't take any more whale pain, man. That one blind, injured Moby Dick whale that they brought in, that's Payuk's like last like sibling. I can't, man. It breaks my heart.
But overall, like the whale stuff I think is really powerful, and like it ties heavily into Loak's story. The scene where Loak goes after Payakan and he's like sunburned and you can see the skin peeling really shows like how advanced the CGI that they're using for these movies is. It's a beautiful movie. All of these are beautiful movies, but like the progression of the CGI and the visual storytelling that James Cameron creates with these movies is just phenomenal.
I agree. And one of the things I loved about this movie is that at the end we get a amazing squid battle to help out the Na'vi defeat the humans. And no matter where they were, even deep on a ship, squid were just like lashing themselves forward to just eat people. I loved it. I was laughing so to myself. I'm like, about time, man. Bless it. Let's get some tentacle murder in here.
I really wish there was again, I think the biggest flaw of this movie is that the emotional payoffs, or at least emotional setups, don't pay off the same as they should, because those squids, they set it up that, oh, if these guys show up, they're here to judge you. If you survive, cool. If not, you must have been a pretty awful person. And they show up when Kiri resolves her problem, and Kiri tells them, hey, go kill all the humans. Like it's not like it's a judgment kind of thing. It's more just like, oh, hey, the Rohirrim are here on the light of the third day. Let's go. So like maybe they're more the Ghost Army in Return of the King. Like that feels more apt for them. The whales or the Rohirrim.
Well, they're there to judge the humans, and the humans are judged tasty.
how long that New Zealand guy survives, the lead whaler, it's infuriating how long he survives, and there's no reason for it other than they're like, you want to wait and see when this guy dies, and like they're just building up to it. And when Payakan takes him down to give him the bends, it works, but I'm just like, I wish it happened sooner. Could not like him being there for so long, and like he even rallies the troops at a certain point when they're like, oh, the humans have lost so much, and he's like, come on guys, there's a big payday waiting for us. And they're like, I guess, okay. And then they get the upper hand after so long. But like, let's talk about Kiri really quick, because how did you feel about Kiri's resolution to who her father is? She gets Cartmaned a little bit, I think. Like, I think that's the best way we can say it.
She's Jesus. I guess. Yeah, for one, I didn't remember that Sigourney Weaver's avatar was still alive. I knew that they tried to bond with her with Awa like they did Jake, and it didn't work. But her avatar kept breathing and ended up pregnant. I just assumed that after Kiri was born that the avatar had died. But no, it's still alive. And I'm like, okay. But yes, she is a self-conception. So she is genetically a clone of Sigourney Weaver's avatar, and that Awa decided to birth herself. I don't know. I kind of would have liked the mystery box.
I took it more as Awa couldn't save Grace's mind in the state that it was in the body. And so Awa created the clone that could also like retain the essence of Grace. And so like it's Grace if she were born a Na'vi.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. The explanation just kind of made me more go, huh, versus why couldn't Grace have gotten freaky once?
Yeah, that's a weird one. I think it's because if she got freaky with like Norm, then you have this weird hat on a hat of the white savior where she's so special because she's born of two avatars. She's like a natural birth between two avatars, and like, oh, look at how crazy special she is. Whereas if she is a creation of Awa, that's something a little more unique to the Na'vi, and that explains why she is able to do the things that she's able to do. So like I didn't hate it. I thought it was a better resolution than like, oh, she banged random Na'vi from Neytiri's village just before she died and didn't know it. Like I appreciated that it was more, I wouldn't say nuanced, but it's just a better resolution, I think, than it's a more satisfying resolution to the mystery box of who's her dad, of, oh, it's Anakin, like there is no father, than it is like random person or Norm or someone else who had an avatar that we don't know. Like there's no emotional attachment to anything with them giving her an actual biological father. And I think there's an interesting character arc for her to have and self-reflect on, with her being like, because she says it herself, like, I'm a clone. That makes me even more of a fucking freak. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And so with her coming to a resolution of like, I am who I am, I like that a lot. I think it's a better storytelling mechanic than, oh, your father is a clone of Emperor Palpatine, to make an example of a recent similar idea.
Somehow Quark has returned. I do like that they resolve Neytiri's issues with contacting Awa. Is not that Awa is blocking her. It's that...
Sorry, Kiri. You said Neytiri. Kiri.
Sorry. Ricky. Kiri, thank you.
Not Ricky. Kiri. My wife doesn't have a problem contacting Awa.
Oh, thank goodness. I was worried about that for a second. But yes, Kiri, is that the resolution is that she is tied into Awa, which is why she can do these things, like make Spider be able to breathe. But she also needs the emotional support of those around her because of how insistent she is. I liked that. I really like that she finally is able to get her breakthroughs by relying upon other people versus her just, as you said, going around moping that she's a freak. I like that. And it gave Took something to do, because Took had been nothing but a burden on the damn family this entire time.
She just doesn't listen.
No, I liked it. There are some quibbles, definitely some quibbles. I'm excited to see what the next one is like, because according to Cameron, the next movie's narrator is going to be Kiri, and it's going to be like her story of her growing up, which I like. So we'll see. But by the way,
Disney better greenlight that soon, because, as mentioned, Sigourney Weaver is in her 70s, and people have been dying a lot recently. They need to make sure we're not AIing Sigourney Weaver by the end of this thing.
Gosh, I hope not. I will say they're doing a good job of aging Jake, because like every time Jake's like frowning or something, you're getting like these little grays in his like kind of dreadlocks, and the wrinkles all over his face and stuff. And you're
I
like,
noticed that too.
Like Jake's getting old. Yeah.
Neytiri too. Like there's one shot, especially in this movie, where you see Zoe Saldana in the fit frame. Like they did a really good job in this one of being like, there's an actor behind this CGI character. Like, don't forget that this is all motion capture. This isn't created just in a box. Like there is a performance behind here. That's not just the voice.
No, I completely agree with that. I think I'm excited to see where they go with the fourth and fifth one. I'm much more hopeful that this franchise has original stories and we can live with these characters now than I am after the last one. Because the last one was definitely some kind of retread. But this one confirmed that these characters and this world is worth a continued exploration. They need to get on this shit, because everybody in this movie is getting old.
One thing we didn't really talk about, which we do need to praise as well, is Stephen Lang as Quaritch. He's moving more into an anti-hero kind of vein in these films, and they do a really great job of kind of making him likable, but still the bad guy of the story in a sense. But they're softening him up, and he's becoming a little bit more open to the idea of the Na'vi. He's not just like, well, I'm a human mind in a Na'vi avatar and I can't go back, but I'm still human because of what I remember. And they're doing a really good job of like doing a slow build to him fully integrating with the Na'vi. And they do a great job of making him funny, especially in this one. I made the joke to you and Justin earlier, where if you were to ask me to create a fun title for Avatar 3, it would be Avatar Endgame, My Two Dads.
Basically. Yeah, I was the resolution to the two dads problem I actually really liked, and that is something James Cameron's just good. He knows how to frame action. You're never confused where people are. You always know where everybody is, what the stakes are, and as they're like leaping around the ship that's being ripped apart and thrown into the sky, and they're diving upon the floating rocks as Jake and Quaritch are fighting, and Spider is hopping around trying to get a good shot, because he's trying to basically off Quaritch. He's done with him.
I was so ready for Spider to misfire and kill Jake. I was pleasantly surprised at the resolution that they came up with for that one.
Because that's another great thing, is that he is half the size of the Na'vi. So what's going on? He's struggling to ratchet the crossbow into place, the Na'vi crossbow that's bigger than him basically, and he's struggling with it. I thought he was going to get it hooked on and it was just going to fire and hit Jake. I thought that too.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It
Jake's
felt like
gone.
that's what they were setting up.
Jake's story's over. He's actually been killed. Now Neytiri is going to have to look at Spider, who has partially responsible.
She just
for her
reconciled
son.
with him, and now all of a sudden she killed her husband. It's like, are they going to like make Neytiri the bad guy by the end of this, because she's just suffered from the hands of humans for so long?
But they don't. It ends up with them kind of like in the stalemate situation where they're both just too beat up to fight each other, and Spider has chosen a side. And I do like it that, what is the last line Quaritch says is like, Neytiri lands and she's ready to just put an arrow through him again. And Jake's like, no. I think we struck a peace agreement. And he says something along the lines of like, well, ain't life a bitch, and throws himself off the rock.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, like it's a really good, like, if we don't get a sequel, he's dead. If we do get a sequel, it's a very easy out that he like landed somewhere and got on an Ikra and flew away.
Yeah, Varog swings by and picks him up.
yeah, Avatar Fire and Ash must see. I'm probably going to see it at least once more. Ricky really wants to see it because when I talked with her after I had gotten out of my show, she's like, so how was it? And I said, I think it's the best one. I can't say that I felt the way I have coming out of any of these the way I do about this one. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we have to go see it again. I'm like, I have no problem with that. I can't say I've ever said that about an Avatar movie. I don't think I've watched Avatar The Way of Water since the first time I watched it when it hit Disney Plus. So like I'm very pleasantly surprised at my response to this one. But something I'm not pleasantly surprised about my response to is the Avengers teaser for Doomsday and the practice that they're coming up with this one, where they're releasing 4 or like 3 individual trailers, and then there's a 4th one that's kind of like culminating all of them.
Yeah.
And they're releasing them in a week-to-week way to try and drive people to go back to the theater to see them. I hate this. I don't understand. Like this one with Steve Rogers and like the stakes that they're setting up for it, extraordinarily transparent, very simple. And if you wanted to do this kind of thing, you know where you do this? In your fucking post-credits scenes to hype people up for your movies, where you get out of the Thunderbolts and you're talking about Sam Wilson and you go, Steve Rogers will return in Doomsday, and look at what he has built that all of a sudden Doomsday is going to undo. Well, you go and talk to your friends about it. Your friends go and see the movie so they can see this trailer and see what all the hubbub is. And then Fantastic Four comes out and you see Scott Summers will return in Avengers Doomsday, whatever the next one is. We don't know what the next one is yet, but I'm not going to these movies again, probably X-Men. But like, I don't understand the thinking behind trying to drive more box office draw to Fire and Ash by doing these episodic Avengers trailers. It's dumb. And to me, the only way this works is if you put it at the end of your actual Marvel movies, not ahead of Avatar.
I only saw 3 trailers because Beloit Classic Cinemas has a 10-minute hard limit on the amount of trailers to show. And this was the teaser one. And I had heard that the teaser was coming out. I knew it was coming. And I was actually really worried because right before this trailer is when they said, put on your 3D glasses. So they did some 3D for this. And it does not look good in high frame rate. Like Steve Rogers looks very waxy. It's like they digitally
that's not even high frame rate. Like they look like it went through an AI blender.
Oh, but what ticked me off about this is because it is is 2 emotional pulls that they're trying to do to you. One, they're trying to say, hey, Steve's coming back, guys. It's okay. We have Steve. Remember him? You loved him. He went off and he got with Peggy, and now we're pulling him back. But then he also has a baby. And so it's just a double pull of, well, we don't have Tony anymore. So we can't do Endgame where it's like, hey, listen, I have a small child. I'm keeping my life the same with my baby, with my mom, but my baby mama and my baby. No, it's now Steve's going to be pulled from the past of his life from Peggy, and his child's at stake. I'm like, I already saw that in Endgame. I don't want that. I don't need it. No, it's 7 years later. It's been 7 years. And basically what you're doing is you're saying the last 15 movies we've done and TV shows have not gone the way we expected. Guys, we're rebooting. We're bringing back Steve. And we're bringing back Tony. But it's not really Tony. But I mean, come on, it's Tony. We're bringing back Tony. So it didn't work for me. It actually just made me mad.
They're not hyping this up the way that they should. And we've talked about this ad nauseum, where it's the stunt casting of RDJ as Doom outshines what Doom is supposed to bring to the table, and the storylines that they're presumably going to be adapting for these 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah, so it didn't work for me. What was the other movie I saw? It had new footage. Oh, it's going to drive me bonkers. I don't remember.
It was Mandalorian and Grogu. That had some new footage.
There was a bunch of new fight footage in that. They actually showed the Mandalorian.
Yeah, they basically went,
cool
hey,
shit.
by the way, you like Thor Ragnarok? We're going to do some of that too.
That's what it was. It was the Mandalorian with new footage. It wasn't a ton of new footage. It was. It still ended with the AT-AT snow crash.
Yeah, it's just slightly extended, and then there's like a little extra dialogue, and I think we get a little bit more footage of Zeb getting his action scene.
Yes.
Which I'm here for Zeb. I'm here for anything that gives credence to Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, bad baby.
And Babu Frick, yes.
Yes. But yeah, no, I mean, we'll report next episode about what exactly the new trailer was, because I'm probably going to see it this weekend.
Well, Alex, if you want to let everyone know where they can join in on the discussion about either Avatar, which we have a spoiler thread for, are you getting hyped for Doomsday with these teaser trailers? Which I also find really funny that we have a trailer. I mean, it's a teaser for Doomsday before we get the teaser or any kind of trailer for the new Spider-Man, even though that's coming out 5 months sooner.
You know what? So I just remembered. So the Doomsday teaser, it ended with it cutting to, was it 364 days, 11 hours, 59 minutes or whatever from now?
Mm-hmm.
I really wonder if the next one that comes out is going to be, was it 357 days?
That would, I mean, I was curious because, yeah, like anyone who sees that trailer, they're not going to keep the clock rolling in real time. So like that's an interesting idea.
But yeah, join our Discord. The link is down in the description below. It is tsmackpod@gmail.com. It's where you can join us as we have interactions, fun times, and just, let us know how you think we're doing, or let us know how you think we're not doing. Such as you're not doing well and you are not forming good opinions.
And if you have the same old tired opinions about Avatar, keep them to yourself. Everyone knows Jake Sully and Neytiri now because that joke has been driven to the point where everyone knows their names. So it worked in a different way than intended. But you can join the discussion, as Alex said, by clicking the link in the episode description. Follow us on social media platforms, Blue Sky, Facebook, and YouTube. We are at Talking Smack Pod. Don't forget to leave a review if you're listening on any of your podcatcher preferences. 5-star reviews on Spotify. You can leave comments now. Leave a nice review on Apple Podcasts if you can. Email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes, Beppo for our original avatars, Retrolet Studios for our Ricky avatar. Please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice. Hit that like button on YouTube. Thank you for listening, Alex. Thank you for being here. Alex, there's a TV show that people confuse with Star Trek or Star Wars all the time. What is that show? I said it in my tease.
You gotta watch Star Trek, man. We watch Star Trek. Who loves T-Smack?
I love T-Smack. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh.